Jacket. 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 Jacket.
Let me tell you something.
Jacket. 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 Jacket.
That wasn't it. The second game, and I'm not going to be long this one. The second game, and I took inventory of several people. The second most popular game that we played as children is house. Is house.
Jacket.
Is house.
Jacket.
You cannot insult and inspire the same people that you insult. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I don't condemn you. I don't judge you. Because you can't evangelize and antagonize at the same time. We pick and choose the scriptures that we want to use to beat folk up with rather than look at our own lives.
Jacket.
Sit your hypocritical self down. We all got to look at ourselves. We all need Jesus.
A message from wildlife biologist Jeff Corwin for American Humane.
Every year, 30,000 elephants are killed by poachers. 8 million tons of plastic is dumped into the ocean, and 18 million acres of forest disappear. And with them, many of the remarkable animals that share our planet. These animals need our help. Their very survival depends on our ability to protect them. Zoos and aquariums are on the front lines of wildlife conservation and inspire environmental stewardship amongst the millions of families that visit every year. And know that zoos and aquariums that have earned the Humane Certified Seal of Approval from American Humane will not give up until every species has a fighting chance for survival. Find out more and help protect and preserve the amazing creatures that share our world.
Brought to you by American Humane.
Hey, this is Ariana Grande.
What's up, everybody? I'm Bozzy. This is Calvin Harris.
This is Camila Cabello.
Hey, I'm Dua Lipa.
Hey guys, I'm Halsey.
Hey, what's up? It's Lau.
Hey everyone.
This is Salade.
It's Selena.
This is Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Taylor Swift.
This is Zed.
This is K-Joy.
This is Vincent R.
What's up, guys? Twitch and Scratch. You're listening to DaBooth312 on WIIT 88.9 FM Chicago.
And this is fresh.
I'm Tiffany. I have some tips for you on how to quit smoking like I did. First, I did some reading about it. I found a lot of great advice on how to quit smoking and picked out the ways I thought would work best for me. I started by setting a quit date. Then I threw out my ashtrays, lighters, and matches. I did other things too, like exercising more, and it worked. But I'd still get cravings, especially on long car rides. To help me with that, I put a picture of my mother in my car. She died of lung cancer from smoking cigarettes when I was only 16. Now I have a 16-year-old daughter. That picture of my mother reminds me that I don't want to miss all the things my daughter is going to do in her life, including turning 17.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Reaching the World Entertainment presents The Booth. Check us out every Sunday on WIIT 88.9 FM in Chicago, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Download that free app, tune in, and get the best sounds of the underground with The Booth.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of DaBooth312, broadcasting from WIIT 88.9 FM in Chicago and DaBoothRadio.com. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your day. Go Bears. That's right. We're going to get rid of the Packers. We don't want no cheeseheads here. But if you're listening to us in Wisconsin, well, you know, we love you for listening to us, but we're still going to win. All right, guys. So hopefully you guys are having a great day. I know we're going to have one. Because if you haven't been touched, well, we're going to have the G-Spot man here going to be touching us. So, yeah, I know FCC is going to be listening to us today. Anyways, hey,
I was
guys.
looking at the Bears score, so.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Yeah, we got to melt that cheese. It's all right. You know, it's still early on, right? So we'll hopefully take it over. All right, guys. So keep rooting for the Bears, and hopefully we can take that game over. But otherwise, if you guys aren't enjoying the game, hopefully you guys are tuning in to us here on DaBooth312 and DaBoothRadio.com. We're going to give you guys, again, as always, the best sounds of the underground and the best of house music right here from the home of house music in Chicago. So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy the show. And we're going to get to know George G-Spot Jackson. Don't know if he's part of the Jackson 5, but we're going to find out. So make sure you stick around and find out more about that. Also, I want to know if you guys are going to be checking out the last of the Star Wars trilogies. This is the last of the trilogy episodes. I know that Disney's not giving up on Star Wars. So if you're a Star Wars fan, don't worry. You're not going to be lost out completely. The Mandalorian is being played right now on Disney Plus. You guys can check that out every week.
Very good show.
It is. I'm a Star Wars fan. I love it. My son watches it here and there, but I'm old school Star Wars fan. So I'm really into it. I can't wait to see the movie. Comes out on the 20th. I'll be seeing it on the 21st. I've talked to you guys, you and Dave, and you guys are both saying you're going to see it. George, what about you? You're going to see a Star Wars movie?
So to be very honest, I'm not a Star Wars fan.
Okay, well, we'll exit you out that stage left. All right. No, it's okay. Just don't tell me you're a Star Trek fan. And anyways,
I'm a Star Trek fan too. So.
It's funny because you don't catch a lot of people that are your Trekkies and into Star Wars. It's either one or the other. You don't usually see both.
I got both.
Yeah, I see his ears growing already on that side of his headphones.
And I'm kind of neither, so.
Oh, okay.
Be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah, well, there you go. Be fruitful, right? Okay. You'll be getting a lot of those checks sent out. If you guys haven't noticed that the Preacher Man is not in the studio today, unfortunately, he's got family affairs to take care of. But, God bless him and love you. And hopefully we'll see you next week here and smoke, Yeah, he got real mad at me. I called him and like, hey, you coming in? I told you last week I ain't coming. I'm like, okay, Mac, hey, calm down, bro. But no, it's all good. It's all love. We all get forgetful. It happens. Things happen. If you guys did not come out on Friday,
you missed a good time.
You missed a real good time. It was a great episode. We had a lot of DJs, 25 DJs throwing down for you guys at Xavier's nightclub. So it was a wonderful thing. I see the pictures up all over the place, showing love. The DJs did a great job. And I heard ours truly right here. Ron Tinsley threw down. I mean, he had left everyone sweating and wet. Well, not like his usual, leaving them wet, but he left them all sweating and wet from dancing and grooving to the sound. So he did a great job. And, definitely thumbs up to you, brother. And,
Thank you.
As always, man, you do a great job. We love having you. That's why we keep you around here.
I was sweating. I was wet. That's good enough, right?
Dave.
He was dripping.
He, it was a lot of familiar faces in there, and it was just good camaraderie. For those that did come out, it was a good time, and I enjoyed the energy that the crowd had. You know, it wasn't just a bunch of DJs sitting around saying, okay, this sounds good. It was actually people dancing on the dance floor like it's supposed to be. It was a real party. And you know, with the magnitude of DJs that were there, I'm glad that, you know, people did take the time to come out and see what was it about, you know. And big ups to the White Elephant folks. We've had them here in the studio, and I'm just glad that they're doing what they're doing.
I'm just happy we got the White Elephant folks in the studio. I mean, having the White Elephant in here, you know, I mean, I don't know, better than having the Pink Elephant. Anyways, you know, but I mean, yeah, it was a great event. The North Side event was great. South Side was wonderful. Don't know if they're deciding to expand that, make it a little bit bigger. Because I tell you, 25 DJs in that short little bit of time, you know, you can only do so much. It's 15-minute sets. So you can only do so much. But you know what? If you look at it this way, to do what you have to do in 15 minutes to showcase yourself, you have to be good. You know, plain and simple. You have 15-minute sets to showcase. And, you know, if you can't handle it, what are you going to do? You know, 15 minutes. If you're just a simple long play, and I know, you know, Ron and I both, we like playing long plays to really accentuate the songs, the tracks. But, you know, in 15 minutes, if you have some songs, you're going to play what? 5 songs tops, you know? Yeah. You know, well, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying.
There's a 2-minute in, 2-minute out guy.
There you go.
He's been doing it for years.
If it works for you.
The way I grew up.
And, you know,
how I do it.
I don't have anything against any DJ, how their style is. I mean, if it works for you and the crowd is loving it, that's the biggest thing. As long as the dance floor is reflecting that they like what you're doing.
Yeah, regardless if you hit that sync button.
Different conversation, different topic.
Way different conversation.
But okay,
that's
on
somebody's
that,
style.
on that. With that being said, you're right. It's someone's style, and that's what they're comfortable with. The dance floor doesn't know the difference, but
Exactly.
the DJ does. And to be a fellow DJ, and I see a DJ with the sync button on, I say, hey, you know, people use Tractor, they do Tractor Live, and that's a whole different other ballgame. But if you're not using that and you got that sync button engaged, hey, that's why you're supposed to practice at home. Practice your craft, hone your craft, get good at the craft.
Hey, man, I'll just wear some pasties, have someone else DJ, and just pay me. I don't care, right? I mean, it really comes down to the money nowadays. So
I mean,
it doesn't matter what the sound is. It's a matter of the show.
If you look as fine as Kim Kardashian, I noticed I didn't say Paris Hilton, but if you look as fine as a Kim Kardashian,
oh, we're all looking,
and you can't play, but you are pulling in crowds, you know. At least that what you could do is pay homage to the DJ that you're playing his live his recorded set, you know. And whether you paying him, endorsing him, whatever you're doing, as long as you give that DJ that's making you look good. And you give them that love or her that love, then okay.
That ain't gonna happen because they're actually getting paid to be quiet and not say anything. It's a Milli Vanilli aspect, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, what can I say? I mean, if the DJ who's doing it behind the scenes is getting paid and they're okay with it,
right?
Then I'm not gonna criticize, you know. But
look at divas like Madonna. When she does her tours, she has not just her entourage, but she has DJs that travel with her, so when they go do after parties in the different cities, she already has a DJ.
Oh, yeah.
So the DJ that came on her tour when she stopped in Chicago, Honey Dijon, you know, and you're traveling around, Honey Dijon makes a crowd anyway. Mm-hmm. So you're traveling along with Madonna and her tour, that's got to be a hot party. But at least Honey Dijon is playing. You know?
Well, yeah, of course. There's
Honey Dijon
different aspect on that.
Right.
So, all right, guys, let us know what you think about the Star Wars movies because we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on in here. If you guys have any questions for the G-Spot, and I don't mean about the G-Spot sitting next to you. I'm talking about the man right here, George
This is a
G-Spot
family
Jackson.
show.
Right, I was going to say
this is a family affair. What can I say?
All over this.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
were
Have you
talking
heard
about
other public radio lately? I don't know.
we were talking about the big debauchery masquerade ball or whatever. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay it. It looks like a really hot party, and they just had it, and it was from the pictures I saw, you couldn't take pictures in there, but from the pictures that they have posted on the website, it looks like a really hot party. So Big ups to those guys that did that Saturday. And, hopefully we could get some of those folks to come to the studio and talk about the debauchery ball that they have every year. And it's in different locations. It's not at the same location every year. They have one here, one there. It's a New York one, So from what I've read up on it and what I've heard, it's a pretty interesting night.
Yeah, I got to look into more of it because I really would like to see, since they do change it up locations, I'd like to know who's got the hottest location so far. And who knows? Because Chicago may top the rankings. I don't know, but we have to look and see.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So we'll have to definitely look into that. I appreciate you bringing that one up. So what else we got going on this week that you know of, Ron? Anything else?
Well, I mean, everybody should be getting ready for the holidays. I mean, my office, the company I work for during my day job, we had our Christmas party. And it was pretty nice over at Harry Carey's. So that was really nice. And, now that we're rolling within a week or a week and a half or so from Christmas, just be careful out there. There's people, the crime waves have started to come up, during the holidays. And here somebody got shot laying in their bed last night. A young lady laying in her bed gets shot in the ankle from bullets being shot at the building, So it's the holidays. It's bad enough. We got, good friend of mine, DJ Rick Johnson, lost his sister, his oldest sister, on Friday. And mad respects and condolences go out. I didn't tell him I was going to give a shout out to him on the radio, but he does watch the show. And Rick, if you're watching, our condolences to you and your family on the loss of your sister. So he's getting his mental stability back together, but he's got some traveling to do and this upcoming week. And let's not take life for granted. If to be able to see another day is a blessing, but we just got to stop the violence. And I know me, Rob, Derek, Dave, we've all said this week in and week out. We got to stop the violence, and that's the great thing about house music is it's a music of a culture that brings people together. It doesn't matter your color, your background, your sexuality. It does not matter. It's about people. And we got to start thinking about people again. And, the senseless killings, it's not going to stop tomorrow, but we can help. Just take a little bit of time out and say, hey, if you know somebody that's into that kind of stuff, is it worth your life, taking someone else's life? Because you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. So just be out here. If everybody can just turn over a half of a leaf and say, hey, look, I'll be kind. Say thank you. There's nothing wrong with saying please.
Turning over a leaf is great, but too many people today are just smoking the leaf. And
it's going to be legal on
sometimes,
January 1st.
well, you know what? Sometimes that's okay if it calms you down, mellows you out. But if it keeps you hungry for more and you can't afford it, and you go on have to cause more pain to have your satisfaction, it ain't worth it.
Exactly.
All right, guys. So it's about that time for the break again. So we're going to play some of these new tracks that we got out for you guys. Make sure you guys keep following us on DaBooth312.com. We have all the hot tracks. Show you what the latest and greatest is of the different house music tracks are. Otherwise, we'll be coming back a little bit more. We're going to get to know George G. Spot Jackson right here on DaBooth312. Broadcasting from WIT 88.9 FM in Chicago and DaBooth312.com.
Bring it. Bring it back. Bring it. Bring it.
Yeah, keep it moving, keep it moving.
Welcome to the graveyard.
Hey, this is Ariana Grande.
What's up, everybody? I'm Bozzy. This is Calvin Harris.
This is Camila Cabello.
Hey, I'm Dua Lipa.
Hey guys, I'm Halsey.
Hey, what's up? It's Loud.
Hey everyone.
This is Salade.
It's Selena.
This is Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Taylor Swift.
This is Zed.
This is K-Joy.
This is Vincent R.
What's up, guys? Twitch and Scratch. You're listening to Booth 312 on WIIT 88.9 FM in Chicago.
And this is Fresh.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Booth 312. All right, guys, so we're going to get to know our guest today. Our guest today on the show is George G-Spot.
What up,
Jackson.
what up, what up?
What's going on, G-Spot?
Oh, man, just trying to make it, trying to get in here and, I don't know, bang some tunes, answer some questions, have some fun. You know, get
That's
into,
what it's about.
Yeah, get into, like, a nice little session of, like, just, I don't know, just a kicking session. Talking about whatever, house music or whatever. It don't matter.
Okay.
Oh, we can't talk about Star Wars because you're not into it, but it's okay.
Well, we can talk about it. It just might go over my head. That's all. Like, you know. But I try to keep in tune with a little bit of everything. So I kind of keep an ear out. That don't mean I always know about what's happening. You know.
That's all right. That's all right.
Might hit me with a few points. So.
G-Spot, let me ask you, man. How long you been in the game of DJing?
Ooh. So I started DJing parties in '86. Of course, I got my first pair of turntables in '84. You know, a pair of Gemini joints. Like, of course, everybody had the less expensive joints, and then we just got, you know, we as years gone by and we could actually afford the real stuff. I got them. But yeah, '86. I started with. I went to Mendel Catholic, and I did a lot of the parties there. I hooked up with a lot of good guys like Nick Nonstop, Disco Diego, Braxton Holmes. Those guys, and then like I started doing parties with Marvin Terry, which that took me to a whole different ballgame. My first real party with him was at the Ascot on Christmas night, 1986. Wow. So yeah, and I was all of 14 years old.
Okay.
Like a kid, man. But it was crazy because I was playing in front of like 1,000 kids.
Okay.
That was better than me when I first started. Yeah, but I started in '89. But yeah, I mean, mine was more like family and stuff like that when I first started. So my first event against kids was back when we had the daytimes going on. You know, that's really when I first did my event, and pretty much everyone was messed up. It didn't matter if you messed up yourself or not.
Actually,
at that time, but you know,
now that I'm thinking about it, I think you started doing big parties. Your first big party, but you started partying the same time I started learning how to play on vinyl in '86.
Yeah.
And played my birthday party. My cousin was like, my mother made fresh homemade pizza, and he was like, I'm going to eat. There you go. I was like, huh?
Right.
So,
what do you want me to do with this?
Yeah. So '86, yeah, man. I mean, when I hear people say, yeah, I start back in the '80s, I'm like, okay. And then when we had the more veteran DJs in here, not saying you're not a veteran, but I'm saying the guys that was doing it in the '70s,
right?
I'm like, man, I was watching cartoons, man.
That's what I was saying. '86, I was still playing with the toys with my friends and everything. So, yeah.
I mean, in '86, I was kind of like, I was kind of venturing into this weird realm. Like, I was still a huge Prince fan, and then I like started like really listening to house music, and of course listening to like Hot Mix 5 and all them on the radio, and then like I got a chance to go to like the rink and hear like Lil Jon and Remix Roy and those guys. But then like I started to really want to get in, like I really wanted to get into it. When I went to Mendel, matter of fact, before I got there over the summer, they had some parties. And I just, I went to them and I was just like, man, I want to be up on that stage. And I actually, my freshman year, got a chance to play up there, and I opened for Ron Hardy. And that was the most amazing thing ever because like, I felt like I had no idea what I was doing.
Which is okay for Ron because the way Ron played, it's just, hey, whatever I do, and
Yeah, it was crazy because like they had no monitors. It was like, the big sound, you're in this big gym, sounds echoing all over the place. And I was train wrecking all over the place.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was crazy because like he walked up and he kind of tapped me on my back. It was just like, dude, like, you're train wrecking, right? And I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, he was like, yeah, there's no monitors. You're DJing off of like background, like, it's bouncing.
The reverb. Yeah.
So he was like, look, you see the mixer right here? You got the little LED lights jumping up and down. Like, Hear what you're hearing in the headphones, blend it to that, and don't mess around. Don't try to hold no long blends. Just like hit that fader.
Basically, slam tracks. Yeah.
It's like there's no reason for you to do too much. Just do that. Trust me. And like I kind of every time I walked into a place with no monitors and like all that, it was just like wow, like he really gave me advice. And then as I grew up and really got to know who Ron Hardy was and like how important he was to the game, it was just like damn, like I actually got advice from Ron Hardy.
I got schooled by one of the top dogs.
Yeah.
You can't go no wrong with
and
that.
he was mad cool, and it kind of guided me like throughout like my career, like whether it was hip hop, house, reggae, whatever. Like I played on the radio and for many years, did a lot of club stuff, jumped into the mixtape game, actually owned a mixtape site, but like I always like looked back and took advice from a lot of the different people that were like around me that was just like huge, and I was just like man. I want to be like them, like a Ferris, like a Gene Hunt, like Ron, and I mean even to cats that were around me that were accessible, like a Mickey Calvin and Mike Fever and or they used to call him House Mike at the time, and my boy rest in peace Kurt Vuitton, aka Kurt Chambers, but yeah, I mean all those guys like they were just like instrumental. In helping me to get to where I'm at now.
So who was the first DJ that you said, man, was it Ron or?
Well,
who inspired you to say, I want to put some vinyl on some decks and start playing?
So that probably would be Farley.
Okay.
But then once again, it ventures off because like I heard Ron play and I'm like, man, that's dope. Like, and then I'm hearing like Lil Jon, but I didn't know who Lil Jon at the time was. And then you're finding out like DJ Lil Jon is the man, but, I also like, so I went to a grammar school called, Caldwell Elementary.
Okay.
I graduated with Steve Hurley's, little sister, Kim Hurley. He actually went to the same grammar school many years prior, to me. But my 8th grade teacher was just like, I know you want to be like, do this music thing. Like you could be Steve Hurley. And like that kind of guided me as well, because it was just like, damn, like I'm sitting here in the same room that Steve Hurley was in. And like, I could do this. All I need to do is like stay on my studies and like, continue like actually doing what I love to do. So it was a lot of different people. But yeah, I mean, as far as listening to someone and saying like, man, who really like made me want to get on the decks, Farley.
Okay.
And
So
I
what's
say
your-
that and I'm not ashamed of saying it.
So, what's your favorite genre to play?
So I really don't. I just like to play with energy. So like when it comes to house music, I prefer house, of course.
Okay.
Now subgenres, I do play like Afro, I do play soulful, I do play tech house, I do play, Latin house. I play a lot of gospel house. But I mean, it's really just kind of like what hits me. So I don't really fit that whole like I only play soulful. I think if you only play soulful, at some point in your set, you're gonna sound boring, right? If I play all Afro, after about 20 minutes of playing all Afro, it's like it gets
Depends
stale.
on your crowd, right?
Yeah,
But-
and of course it depends on your crowd. Like if I'm in Atlanta and I'm playing all Afro,
They're gonna go crazy.
They're gonna go crazy
Same
all
thing
night.
with Baltimore. You go to
Yeah.
Baltimore, you play Afro, they're going nuts. You
Yeah.
play soulful, they're going nuts.
Yeah.
You start playing old school, people
Yeah.
are like. But then you go to places like New Jersey, and New Jersey reminds me of the South Side of Chicago. They love their old school.
Yes, they do.
And that's all they want to hear. And I take my hat off to the DJs that just play old school.
Yeah.
Because that's a beast. But what do you think about today's age of house music? And what I mean by that question is we talk about it every week on the show here about folks not transitioning or evolving with the music. They're still stuck in 1985 or 1986 or the mid 80s. What's your spin on that?
So I had this same conversation with Chippy when we were in Amsterdam, and he said it best. And I hope he doesn't kill me for saying it. He said, I cannot make new music for old people. And I was like, dude, that makes sense. Like, we all have to evolve and start to be able to say, like, all right, what can we do, like, to move it forward? And it can't just be, we're going to try to make music that sounds like 1985.
Mm-hmm.
We also can't just play everything from 1985. I love my old school stuff. At the same time, like, how many remixes of, I don't know.
Time to Jack?
I mean, that's a whole nother thing. But at least he's making it sound like,
right.
I mean, he's making tech house, techno, all kind of remixes of it, Afro remixes of it. But, like, how many times are we going to hear, like, Let No Man Put Us Under remixes? And I love that joint. At the same time, like, let's do something different. What happened, like, you know what I loved? I actually loved the mid-'90s when, like, there were house remixes of current R&B joints. Because, like, that just gave, like, for me, it was like, okay, I can listen to the R&B joint, the original R&B joint, and then I can go to the club and hear this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can switch it up and hear, like, some crazy reggae remix of it. What happened to those days when, like, you can keep the music fresh and moving forward?
It's still there. It's still there. It's just, I think a lot of people don't embrace it because, like you said about a remix of something that's kind of old but not old, like Hey Hey, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear a Hey Hey remix, but then you got folks out there that will dog a DJ out because it's like, he playing Hey Hey.
Right.
Why are you playing that? But then it's okay. It's not okay to play Hey Hey, but it's okay to play Teddy Pendergrass.
Right.
You know, so it depends on who is out there listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. I mean, I love the fact that the founders of house, and you got guys like Frankie Knuckles that we've quoted time and time again, and I'll continue to quote them. The music is going to keep progressing, and him and the founders of house were reaching out to the masses, not just one age group. They were reaching out to everybody. And I think a lot of DJs got away from wanting to educate the crowd because Frankie would educate the crowd by playing stuff like he was one of the first DJs that would have an orchestra playing behind him.
Absolutely.
Okay. Not too many DJs were doing that. He started that. Now you see a lot of DJs, if they got a name, they got an orchestra playing behind them.
Especially Louis Vega.
Exactly. Well, he's got his own band.
Yeah.
You know?
And dope.
And it's dope, right. I mean, but when you really break it down at the end and you look at the nuts and bolts of house music, it was DJs back in the day when we were youths. You were 14, I was like 13 at the time. The whole thing was, I got this new track. I want to be the first one to play it. So people say, I heard Ron Carroll or Ron Hardy, or I heard Frankie play this first. He played this first. And that was, everybody was trying to outdo who's playing what new track first. And it was a rat race. Who's going to play this first? Now, it's, you got to play for what the crowd wants. And to an extent, it depends on where you go. Dave C. and I were at Xavier's, and Xavier's is a very open. They like their old school. They do like their old school, but they were appreciating as long as it sounded hot and it was banging.
Right.
And when you put something on that they can kind of, oh, I know that track, and then bring in stuff that's new, they were accepted of it. Now, I've been to places where, and I'm quite sure you have, played somewhere and it just wasn't. They didn't move. You had to go. You had to go with what worked.
Yep.
But that's the argument that I always have, and that's why I asked that question. Where's your standpoint on evolution of house music?
Well, yeah. I mean, it has to. First of all, we have to start to educate the young people, because if we don't educate the young people, then it just leaves the old people kind of stagnant. I don't like to call people old people because, like, I'm 47, right?
We're
Like
same
I'm not
age.
exactly young. But
Hey, dog, I'm not old, and I just turned 47. I ain't old.
well,
I'm not
saying.
old.
I'm just saying. I'm not exactly young.
I know.
I mean, I still like. So in my day job, I work with a high school student.
You're still
so
less than middle age.
So like, I still have that. I still feel that energy, like that young energy.
Until about 12 o'clock.
Well, yeah, you know, or until somebody just really gets on my nerves, and I'm like, look, you know, then I turn into my mom. But you know, that's a whole different ball game too. But yeah, I still feel like we have to all kind of channel in that young energy as well that we had back in the day. And that doesn't mean we have to channel everything that we was listening to back in the day, just the energy, just the excitement of like house music. Now, I don't know if it's the excitement is there. I think it's just the excitement of saying like, yeah, I was at the hottest Chosen Few party, or I took pictures with Alan King. And I'm not dogging Chosen Few. I love those guys.
We've had them here on the show.
I mean, Alan, Wayne, Mike, Terry, Andre, all of them, dope. But I'm just saying, like, I think people want to be in the crowd and not be a part of the crowd anymore.
Or move the crowd.
Exactly.
I mean, I take my hat off to all of the upper tier DJs, and the names are limitless. You know, you could talk about the Chosen Few, then you could bring up Glenn Underground. You could bring up Glenn or Gene Hunt. Gene Ferris. We could just go on and on with the names.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they put in their time, and I respect that.
Yep.
They put their time in. We got Derek Smokin' Jones that's part of the show. Put his time, 30 years in the game. Put his time in. I have nothing against that.
Right.
The thing is, when you get that opportunity, and this is the number one thing that I've seen across the board in house music, when you get your opportunity to get on the stage, make it work.
Exactly.
And bang it out and play like this is your last gig. And that's my thoughts. Even here on the radio show, I play like it's my last gig. You never know. You could walk out here and just drop down to the ground.
Exactly.
So, when it comes down to, I'm not trying to, I want to I want to leave a legacy and not just be a legend, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to leave a legacy that, and that's why I love like-minded DJs like yourself. Like, hey, I could play tech house. I'm not afraid of playing tech house. Cool. I could. There's DJs that I've met that go, man, I don't know none of that music. Well, take the time, go to TrackSource, go to Beatport, go to all these other great places. And Rob was mentioning earlier, all these great places where you can find music. It's like going grocery shopping. Just go and let me get a preview of that. Let me get a preview of this. Okay, if it works for you, introduce it to your crowd. So.
Well, we're going to get a preview of our guest. So he's going to be throwing down for us today.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good.
He's feeling young. He's feeling vibrant.
Yeah. especially after this Mountain Dew game fuel. Like, thank you, man. Like, I appreciate the recommendation. Like, thumbs up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel that energy right now.
Okay,
I'm feeling it. It's like
he's gonna be bouncing.
There you go. People are gonna hopefully people be feeling that G spot when you hit it.
So what do you have in store for us during your set?
Well, I definitely want to touch a little bit of everything. So like, I want to play some.
See, he's ready to touch it. See.
I got to stop moving my hands. I mean, he's touching everything, and then you said G spot.
And then you're like, oh no, no more.
My hands
I'm done.
All right. Real quick, let them know how can they find out more about you and where to hear more about you once they get a chance to really feel you on the show.
Well, I do have my website going, so like www.djgspot.com. Also, I'm on Facebook, Instagram. You pull me up as DJ G Spot Chi-Town, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also on like a few of the others, like Snapchat. I don't really use it that much.
Are you on Instagram?
I am on Instagram.
Okay.
And that's under DJ G Spot. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys. So make sure you keep looking for DJ G Spot. And we'll be checking on all of our social media sites. So you guys want to make sure you holler out. let us know how you're feeling, DJ G Spot, because he wants to know too. So make sure you stick around right here for more to come on DaBooth312. Broadcast from WIT 88.9 FM in Chicago and DaBoothRadio.com.
know is negativity. Do what you like, let no one regulate. Just be yourself and make the whole world feel you. Don't ever care about what these people say, 'cause all they know is negativity. Do what you like, let no one regulate. Just be yourself and make the whole world feel you.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Hey, this is Ariana Grande.
What's up, everybody? I'm Bonzi. This is Calvin Harris.
This is Camila Cabello.
Hey, I'm Dua Lipa.
Hey guys, I'm Halsey.
Hey, what's up? It's Lau.
Hey everyone.
This is Selena.
It's Selena.
This is Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Taylor Swift.
This is Zed.
This is K-Joy.
This is Vincent R. What's up, guys? Twitch and Scratch. You're listening to Booth 312 on WIIT 88.9 FM Chicago.
And this is fresh.
Many children in the United States do not receive the dental care they need. Untreated tooth decay not only causes pain, but it also interferes with a child's ability to focus in the classroom. It can lead to a lack of self-esteem, which can hurt a child for years to come. To help combat tooth decay, the American Dental Association sponsors the Give Kids a Smile program. Give Kids a Smile happens nationwide every February. The goal is to try and raise public awareness for children's access to dental care. Dentists volunteer their time and resources to help provide oral health care screenings and treatments for children in need. During Give Kids a Smile, dentists also educate children on how to brush and floss properly and practice good oral hygiene. For the ADA Dental Minute, I'm Dr. Maria Lopez Howell. For more information, visit our website at ada.org.
Reaching the World Entertainment presents The Booth. Check us out every Sunday on WIIT 88.9 FM in Chicago, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Download that free app, tune in, and get the best sounds of the underground with The Booth.
Don't trip, just try, now vibe. You children feel the spirit. Now if you feel the spirit, I want you to clap, clap. Jack. That's it. You heard it. That's the track. Good night. Fooled ya. Press play. Don't trip, just try, now vibe. You children feel the spirit. Now if you feel the spirit, I want you to clap.
just take 10 seconds and think about what God has done in your life. I'm not talking about your grandmama's testimony. I'm talking about what God has done for you. Just take 10 more seconds, because for some of y'all, he's been better than that. It was not because of any goodness of your own, but he sent 2 watchmen called grace and mercy. And if it hadn't been for the grace of God, you should have been. If it hadn't been for the mercy of God, you would have been. Sit down for y'all start something in here.
Hey, this is Ariana Grande.
What's up, everybody? I'm Bozzy. This is Calvin Harris.
This is Camila Cabello.
Hey, I'm Dua Lipa.
Hey guys, I'm Halsey.
Hey, what's up? It's Lau.
Hey everyone.
This is Salade.
It's Selena.
This is Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Taylor Swift.
This is Zed.
This is K-Joy.
This is Vincent R. What's up, guys? Twitch and Scratch. You're listening to DaBooth312
Hey, this is Ariana Grande.
What's up, everybody? I'm Bozzy. This is Calvin Harris.
This is Camila Cabello.
Hey, I'm Dua Lipa.
Hey guys, I'm Halsey.
Hey, what's up? It's Lau.
Hey everyone.
This is Salade.
It's Selena.
This is Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Taylor Swift.
This is Zed.
This is K-Joy.
This is Vincent R. What's up, guys? Twitch and Scratch. You're listening to DaBooth312
Hey, this is Ariana Grande.
What's up, everybody? I'm Bozzy. This is Calvin Harris.
This is Camila Cabello.
Hey, I'm Dua Lipa.
Hey guys, I'm Halsey.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, we're on the talk now, huh? Okay. All right. Well, I thought there was more music. Okay. Anyways. All right, guys. You got a chance to listen to the live mix right here by the G spot there. Hopefully he got you wet. All right, but he definitely had us jumping around in here and moving. So you definitely did a great job, George. Seriously.
Man, thank you.
Great job, man. And definitely, I love the fact of, how, you had a chance to go all across the board with all different genres. As you were talking about earlier, you're not just stuck in one realm, playing just one type of music. So you were able to really reach a multitude of crowds. So that was really, really nice.
Man, I appreciate it. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Like, I don't want to be stuck in one realm. Like, I really love to play a little bit of everything. And the fact that I can dip into, like, some soulful house, some tech house, some Afro, some Latin, some gospel, you know what I'm saying? It kind of, like, kind of speaks to who I am. And it's funny because, like, when I dip into the whole gospel house thing, it's funny because people are like, dude, your name is G-Spot and you're like doing gospel house. And I'm like, dude, that's my...
You know how many preachers out there are really, getting into... Come on now.
So it's funny because, like, we touch into that whole, like, what I call Reverend G-Spot. Like, I'm kind of that conflicted guy, right? Like, I have that name. I've probably done some stuff in my past that was crazy. At the same time, like, I'm this family guy that, like, by day I work with young people. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's that confliction that, like, I don't know if that's even a word, but it just kind of, like, creates what I believe is, like, me and what I want to, throw out there to the world. So,
okay. So, in your day life, you say you work with kids.
Yeah.
How many of them know about your nightlife as far as a DJ?
So, the current young people that I deal with, maybe just a few. But, like, so let me just give you a little bit of what I did. So, like, I worked as a security officer at a high school, Sullivan High School, and, like, all of them knew me as George Jackson, but also as DJ G-Spot. But now, like, as I've started to work with a nonprofit company called Umoja, doing conflict resolution in CPS schools, like, I try to keep it a little bit separate just because, like, the whole G-Spot thing, the whole
being around
what
kids.
They call me, like, Peace Jackson. And then, like, right now the climate in CPS is a little weird. So,
okay,
I just kind of keep it a little bit separate. But, like, yeah, it kind of all speaks to, like, what I do. Like, music is that thing that kind of brings everybody together, brings, like, peace and harmony and, like, just everything that kind of, like, can heal an entire community together. And I like to kind of, I don't know, it just kind of, like, touches
all spectrum.
He talks about touching a lot, with his name G-Spot. I don't know.
And long as I'm touching Dex,
one person,
and my wife, and, like, dealing with
ears
music,
of everybody else.
Right. But everything else, I touch desks. I touch my
I touch
energy
this
drink.
can. I'm in touch with myself.
Right. Everything else off limits. Off limits.
I'm not judging.
Even with the whole Me Too thing, like, I kind of have to be careful with that too. So,
right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just about, like, everything as far as music and what I do in the day, in my day life is kind of, like, all, I don't know, mixed up in one ball, but then separate.
Well, G-Spot, we keep teasing you about your name, but we didn't get a chance to actually get into the history of your name. So we did off the air, but let the people know a little bit more about, how did you actually get the name?
So I'm going to keep it short. But my guy, Mike Fever, I hope he's listening. He's in Florida right now. But we were DJing at the Prop House. We're talking about 99. I was also going back and forth to Cleveland because I was living in Cleveland at the time, working with my man Sam Silk. He's still out there in Cleveland. I moved back. But anyway, I was trying to come up with a name that was catchy, something that was worthy of being on the radio, and DJ George wasn't cutting it. So, like, when we were kind of throwing out names, and my guy Mike Fever was just like, I got the name, and he just said it on the mic in the middle of a party, and I had no clue what he was about to say. So he literally says, like, right now you're listening to the sounds of DJ G-Spot, and every female in that back room of the Prop House stopped dancing and turned around and looked at the DJ booth. And at that time, the DJ booth, they had finally made it, like, raised up. And everybody kind of looked up and was like, what in the... And at that point, it just kind of stuck. But it wasn't in any way, shape, or form
planned.
Right. It wasn't planned. It wasn't sexual in nature. It was literally centered around George.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of morphed into its own self.
George Pod.
Yeah.
George Pod.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So
it's a real story.
You heard it right here on the booth.
I wish Mike could call in. I wish if he was listening, I would tell him to call in and he could tell you the story. So I'm not like telling a fib right now.
Well, if he's listening in as well or watching us on any of our many social media spots, he can, tell a story right there, type it up, and let people know too.
Yeah.
But you definitely hit our G spot because you hit every corner, just about every corner of every genre, and you did an absolutely great job. I mean, seriously. I don't know how I'm going to throw down behind you as far as with my mix at the top of the hour because that was really awesome. So
that was mad humble how you said that, but I'm sure you're about to tear them decks up, and I'm excited to hear it.
And they like me, they don't. I don't care. Anyways, they'll be back next week, anyways.
Exactly.
No, all my fans out there, I love them. I love them.
You just said about humbling, and then bam,
like right in the face.
Right? Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I do, but my fans, look, my fans that go back, that know me from back in the day, even, I love them to death. But I'm gonna do me. Mm-hmm. I love playing for them. I love seeing their excitement and everything. But I got to do me. Yeah. And you're either going to love me or you're going to hate me. I already know. I learned many years ago by some old timers that told me you cannot please everyone all the time, but you please some of the people some of the time. Mm-hmm. And you just do you. Because if you're always worried about pleasing everyone all the time, you're never going to be there.
Absolutely.
And you know what? And it's really going to drain on you. So, my fans know it already. I'm not going to please everyone all the time. So my old schoolers, if I'm not playing old school right now and you're not feeling it, you're going to love me still for who I am and what I'm doing. I'll hit you some other time with the old school.
It should be.
You know what I mean? I do a mix. I change it up. Ron's seen it enough times where, I'll go way off in the deep end and I'll come back and I'll be playing on the other side. So,
Yeah.
He's played on the moon and we'll be like, okay. And then he'll come back and be at Central Time. And I'm like, okay.
How did that happen?
but you know what? If that's what moves you at the time, like we were saying before you'd played your set, it's what's moving you.
Right.
And hopefully, I'd like to go to venues to be able to play what moves me and move everybody. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Yep. It's like a mound.
well, exactly. And the thing is too is I've done this since we talked about with these old schoolers that they're stuck in a time warp. But I've gone to sets where I've been told, hey, it's open. You play you do whatever you're gonna do. Mm-hmm. And I'll go there and the last 5 DJs before me played nothing but old school, whether it be 80s or 90s, playing the same songs over and over. And don't get me wrong, the crowd there, they're loving it. They're stuck in that time warp.
Yep.
I cannot play the same thing over and over. So I went with some electro house, and I had every DJ in there, every musician in there jamming to it. But the crowd's looking at me like, what are you playing? They couldn't come out of that time warp. But it's like, you know what? I'm sorry. I cannot play the same thing over and over and over again. I'm not a record player. I'll play the records, but I'm not a record player.
Exactly.
I'm not going to keep playing the same songs over and over.
Absolutely.
We had in that same seat that you're sitting in about 4 weeks ago, Marshall Jefferson was here. The legend, the man, the myth, the legend.
And I'll just tell you, I just met him in Amsterdam, and it was like crazy because I've always listened to his music. I've always been a fan of his. And then to finally meet him 30 years later was crazy. Mm-hmm. And he's mad cool. But anyway,
he was sitting right where you're at. Yeah. And one thing that really turned the light bulb on in my head was when he said, right here on this station, he said, there's over 3,000 to 4,000 tracks being released a day.
Exactly.
And it didn't hit me like the ton of bricks it did until I was driving home. Mm-hmm. I said 3,000 to 4,000 a day, and then I just went to TrackSource just to resource it,
mm-hmm.
and in one day, it was 4,300 tracks released on a Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Less on a Monday.
And more
they
on
like
Friday.
To get closer to Friday to release, so you could jump in the club, have that nice hot track fresh off the, well, not the press anymore, but fresh,
Right.
and boom. And it made me go 4,000 tracks a day.
Mm-hmm. And to think about how many are being missed. I mean,
tons.
You know, Tracksource, Beatport, you know, all the sites out there that are, you know, trying to get the music out there. You can only listen to so much.
Yep.
I mean, I get it too. You know, I get all these reviews. I do reviews on a lot of tracks too that these labels send me. And I can only listen to so much. And I'm just thinking how much I'm missing though.
I know. And it's crazy.
And
because,
if you're missing it as the DJ,
yeah.
what about the crowd?
They
That is stuck in the time warp, that is way back here, and you're up here, and you're like, y'all need to, what? Let me
and
play
that's
this
why
for you.
it's so important for us to introduce
Educate.
and educate.
Mhm.
And like I've started like doing production like within the last like year and a half, like really doing it.
Mhm.
And like I actually played a couple of my tracks.
Okay.
And when I first threw them out there, nothing. Because like you said, there's 4,000 tracks being released every single day.
But you know how many producers get butthurt by that? I'm keeping it real. I mean, they get so butthurt. Well, I wasn't found. I wasn't heard yet. Well, look, you're 1 in a million.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're 1 in a million that are doing thousands of songs on top of that, that's 1 in a billion. What are you going to do? I mean, you have to work twice as hard. Well, if you're not willing to work hard at it, then exactly.
All right, how about this? I mean, and I know it's going to be easier said than done because I know your response that you're going to have it wrong. But why don't the producers do like the old days, like they used to do? Hit up the hot DJs.
Yep.
Hey, I got a hot track coming out on Friday. I'm going to get it to you. Start playing it on Friday. I know you're going to be at this party.
Well, it's just like these club owners. You got to promote me. I'm not promoting you or my own stuff.
Well,
But
on top of that, every DJ wants it to be like exclusive, but then they want people to buy it. Like they want to say like, I made this. And it's like, well, who'd you send it to? Did you send it to anybody to like have them review it, play it on their shows, play it in
talk about it,
events, talk about it, diss it, whatever.
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Exactly.
Any
Like
publicity
what we're talking
is-
about.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I think that's where a lot of us miss because like a lot of us are just like we making tracks and then it's like, do we throw it out there? Are we
Wait
able
till
to
I
take the
start
critique?
producing. I'm going
like,
to give it to every DJ I know. Here, play this. Play this. I know you don't play tech house. You can play this in your church mix. It's a deep house sound.
I've sent so many tracks to like so many different people. Like I was sending stuff to Louis Vega through Facebook. Of course, he never responds.
Well, see, here's
you never
where-
know.
But well, let me throw this. Let me throw this in your repertoire. I like that word. You could send it here to the booth as long as it's published and it's out for sale. You can send it to us and we'll put it in the rotation. Oh, bam. We have put that out. That has been a thing that we've been saying for the past 8 months.
Well, and that's the key. You know, we want people that are really serious about it. You know, I don't care if you're a bedroom producer, but you better be really doing this to try to make something for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're out there trying to sell your tracks and you're trying to do it legit and do the right thing, we'll support you. If you're just throwing tracks just to see what happens, this and that, and you're not taking it serious, we're not going to take you serious.
Right.
So that's one thing we do look at. So all these new tracks that you're hearing on our show each and every week, these are from record labels that send it to us that they actually have them out on the multitude of resources out there, you know, whether it be Beatport, Tracksource, or all the many others that are out there. They're seriously trying to make profit of it, and we're more than happy to try to help them and get the music out there. So again, yes, Ron is absolutely right. We try to do this each and every week, and we do promote it. So again, if you're listening or watching us right here, and you have a track out there that you're trying to really push and get out there and get some sales on, we're happy to help you. Send your tracks to MD, that's M as in music, D as in director, MD at DaBooth, DABOOTH radio.com.
I'll
Go back to
email-
the follow-up.
I'll
The
hit
fact
you
that
guys.
You got a pen. That's why.
I always have a pen.
You should have your phone. You're not today's day. You got to have your phone in hand and start typing everything.
See, I'm old school.
But
There's the old school part of me, right?
Right.
I mean, I battle with that old school, new school thing. Like I also have my phone and I take notes, but I also have a pen, and I'll find some paper. Trust me, if I really, but I know I can also hit you guys,
Right.
and say like, yeah, remind me of what that is. So
Definitely.
everybody, y'all heard it. So like every producer out here, and we know Chicago got 1 million producers. So like y'all should be on it right now.
I mean, and it's gentlemen like yourself that come on the show that it's your first time on the show. Hey, we let you know, get the word out to the masses, you know, because then that's, once again, our job as DJs to educate folks. Did you know that there's a radio show on Sundays that plays house music? No, I didn't know that. Where can I find it? You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on
Instagram,
Facebook.
Facebook.
The list is long.
Twitter.
Here comes the scroll.
I mean,
just Google it if you have a problem.
Pretty
It'll
much.
come up, I'm sure.
Exactly. I mean, so here's a place where you can, if your music is already produced out there, whatever record label, it doesn't matter if it's, G-Spot record label or Silk Smooth record label. If it's out on a label already, get it to us, just like Rob said. You hear music playing in the background, that it could be your track that's playing in the background. Yeah. Why not? And at the same time, hey, let us know what you think of the show. If you are that producer, that DJ that's making your moves and you are trying to be heard, let us know, because this show, the ghetto came out.
That's okay.
We bring a lot of 90% of our guests, 99% of our guests are local Chicago artists and DJs. And we stay true to that because this is Chicago's own. I mean, not saying that if you're from out of state that we won't bring you here. We're not paying you to come here.
Right.
Let that be known. We've been contacted by some out of state folks. Hey, let me know when you're flying into Chicago. Cricket. Well, yeah, I'm not paying for Rob and I and Derek and David are not. If you're not paying for us to come there, we're not paying for you to come here.
Exactly.
So if you want that trade-off, let's do it. Let's talk. I mean, I would love to go to Amsterdam if Amsterdam Radio Network would host us out there.
Why wouldn't they?
Amsterdam, they really do respect house music. I have to give it to them.
I had a ball out there, man.
Glenn was just out there 2 weeks ago. Him and Boo tearing it up. They were at the Boiler Room.
Oh,
and
see, I had to miss it because I did have an event at this spot called 020.
Okay.
But then I also played on their radio station. So it was simulcast on Amsterdam's Most Wanted at .fm.
Okay.
And Wild FM. And I played a set at noon, which had to be the best thing ever, at noon on a Friday. So it was nuts during ADE.
Okay.
And got a lot of love, man. It was crazy. Like I said, I went out there and Todd Terry was like, yeah, dude, I heard your This Is America joint. That's what gave me the inspiration to do ours. And I was like, whoa, what?
Whoa, okay. There you go.
And of course, his with number one and mine kind of with wood. That's okay, though.
Give it time.
Give it time. And the fact that Todd Terry recognized you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's awesome when somebody knows you that you haven't met and you are like, man, I know you. I know you too. Oh, you do? Okay, cool. You know, I mean, but here at this station, we have the doors open to our Chicago DJs, and a lot of DJs have had the opportunity to come on the show like yourself and play. We like to thank you for coming, taking out your Sunday. Granted, the Bears did not win today, but you still could get the best sounds from the underground each and every Sunday right here on this show. And you know, Rob, what do you got going on coming up? You're going to be going on next to play at the top of the hour after we pay some bills. How are you feeling after that set?
I'm scared.
I've never heard him say that.
I'm scared.
There's no reason.
No, I'm not scared.
I know he's not. I know he's
breaking
not
into
scared.
song.
No, I'm not scared.
I know he's not.
But
scared.
no, I mean seriously, I'm wondering if my set's going to stand up. You know, to his great set, absolute great set. But I'm going to do me.
Do you play your box?
Exactly.
And you always do. You feeling electronica, or you just not?
I have no clue.
You don't know clue. Okay. Well, you heard it right here.
I have
It's
no
usually
clue.
the best sets when you have no clue.
Dave, I walked into White Elephant and was like, and played a lot earlier than I expected. Okay.
So just so y'all know, my set really changed as we were talking, and I was talking about I like tech house. I was gonna start off more probably soulful and go that way, and then I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go the other way.
Well, hey, the red pill worked. The blue pill would have been nice too, but you went with the red pill. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
And it was not at all staged or set.
Yeah,
I just played from the
I
heart.
can't really. It's very rare that I ever do that. I have a hard time doing that, sitting down and trying to work a specific set out, and this is what I'm gonna do, because may not be my feeling at the moment, and then I have a hard time playing that.
I don't have an issue with scripting a set, but doesn't mean I'm going to stick to the script. You know, I will ad lib through it, but if the reason why I will do it is because if I know the venue that I'm playing at is acceptable of what lineup I'm throwing together, then that's where I'll say, okay, this is where I would like to go with it. But in the middle of playing it, I'm feeling something else that could work with this crowd, and they're being perceptive, then I'll come out and dip in and dip out of that set and go other places with it. But I still have a basis to fall back on.
All right. Well, let's dip out of this real quick and get into a couple tracks before top of the hour.
Got 5 minutes?
All right. So stick around right here for more to come on DaBooth 312, WIT 88.9 FM in Chicago, and DaBoothRadio.com.
For some people, difficult transitions like retirement, divorce, or loss of a loved one may contribute to feelings of hopelessness or even thoughts of suicide. The risk of suicide is even higher for men over 50 who've served our country, guys like me. Support from friends and family makes such a big difference. Every day, your actions could help save a life. Learn how you can help at veteranscrisisline.net.
Hey, this is Ariana Grande.
What's up, everybody? I'm Bozzy. This is Calvin Harris.
This is Camila Cabello.
Hey, I'm Dua Lipa.
Hey guys, I'm Halsey.
Hey, what's up? It's Lau.
Hey everyone.
This is Selena.
It's Selena.
This is Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Taylor Swift.
This is Zed.
This is K-Joy.
This is Vincent R. What's up, guys? Twitch and Scratch. You're listening to Booth 312 on WIIT 88.9 FM in Chicago.
And this is fresh.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all, not one bill. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
The treatment doesn't get any better than what you receive at St. Jude. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Reaching the World Entertainment presents The Booth. Check us out every Sunday on WIIT 88.9 FM in Chicago, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Download that free app, tune in, and get the best sounds of the underground with The Booth. You're in the mix. DJ RTW of The Booth. Mix 6.
this don't make your booty move, your booty must be dead. If this don't make your booty move, your booty must be dead. If this don't make your booty move, your booty must be dead.
tell you something.
leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in a path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Imagine this. The lights in the universe are all on, and at the flick of God's switch, all the lights in the world are out. Yeah, you can run, but you can't hide, because if we don't change quick, it's coming. A world eclipse. Blackout. Imagine this. The lights in the universe are all on, and at the flick of God's switch, all the lights in the world are out. Yeah, you can run, but you can't hide, because if we don't change quick, it's coming. A world eclipse. Blackout. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in a path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Imagine this. The lights in the universe are all on, and at the flick of God's switch, all the lights in the world are out. Yeah, you can run, but you can't hide, because if we don't change quick, it's coming. A world eclipse. Blackout. Imagine this. The lights in the universe are all on, and at the flick of God's switch, all the lights in the world are out. Yeah, you can run, but you can't hide, because if we don't change quick, it's coming. A world eclipse. Blackout.
Hey, this is Ariana Grande.
What's up, everybody? I'm Bozzy. This is Calvin Harris.
This is Camila Cabello.
Hey, I'm Dua Lipa.
Hey guys, I'm Halsey.
Hey, what's up? It's Lau.
Hey everyone.
This is Salada.
It's Selena.
This is Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Taylor Swift.
This is Zed.
This is K-Joy.
This is Vincent R. What's up, guys? Twitch and Scratch. You're listening to Booth 312 on WIIT 88.9 FM Chicago.
And this is fresh.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the show, all the live mixes, and all the music we're showcasing here on the Booth 312. Yeah, we're supposed to be getting some snow tonight here in Chicago, so some flurries, real light, nothing major, nothing that down in Florida was shut down for. While they get a little flurries, they get scared and they shut everything down. Here, no, we're good with it. Hey, we definitely want to say thank you again to our guest, George G. Spot Jackson, for coming in. We really appreciate it again, man.
I really appreciate y'all having me, and it was a good time, man. I had a really good time.
Well, that's what we thrive for. We want our guests to enjoy themselves because we want you to be able to come back, and we want you to communicate and let everyone know how great it was to be on the show. So we really appreciate the fact that you enjoyed yourself here as well. So thanks again, man. We really appreciate it.
Most definitely.
Hopefully, when you're traveling around the world, you make a mention about the Booth 312 and what we're doing.
That's a definite. I'm 100% definite. I'm doing that.
Okay, we got you recorded, so.
Like, here's the reminder.
It's binding. No.
Manager's right over there. Manager's right over
Hiding
there.
in the corner. No,
and she'll remind me, too. She will definitely
Don't
remind
forget to
me.
mention the booth. Yeah.
No, both of you guys actually been great. You and your manager. Definitely great. Lovely people. We're always, happy to have you. Like-minded people with the same heart and soul for the music and what we try to do. So we really appreciate that as well for you being who you are. So, thank you for continuing what we're trying to do out there and, pushing that as well. So definitely a great thing.
I want to give a big shout out to my brother, Mickey Calvin. Mickey, you better be watching. What's up, Mickey? Mickey Calvin was the guy behind introducing me and George G. Spot to be coming on the show. So thank you to brother Mickey Calvin out there. And you're doing your thing. You've been, mad congrats to you. And keep on doing your thing. And, we had a lot of people have some big parties this past weekend. So, there were so many parties, like we said, the debauchery ball and everything. And you can't be at every one spot, but I just want to recognize everybody doing their thing out there in the house music community. Thank you for what you're doing. Keep doing it, and keep pushing house music down the throats of these young folks so it can stay alive. Exactly. Because without them, where's it going to go?
Yeah, keep throwing it till it sticks. And it will. George, real quick, let everyone know, what do you have coming up? Do you have any events or anything coming up?
Actually, so just a quick throw out there, like quick promo plug. I do have a couple of joints out there on TrackSource and a couple of other online retailers, like TrackSource, Beatport. You'll see, like, if you go and look at Get It Together on Campo Alegre and, oh my goodness, what is the other one? That's bad. Love is What We Need on Cyber Jams Records.
Okay.
And then on the 27th, I will be at Raven's Place. I think that's what it's called, out in on 130th and Western. And on the 26th, I cannot officially say where I'll be at right now, but there is rumblings of me being somewhere very major.
Here in Chicago or
in Chicago?
Abroad? Okay.
In Chicago.
Okay. Well,
playing with some really big name cats.
Well, we hope we get a chance to hear about it, and we'll be happy to support you. And,
I'm just waiting on that final word that says yes, you'll be there, and yes, you'll be playing, and I will definitely get.
Who do I need to talk to?
Are you trying to put me? You're trying to get me to throw it out there. That was good though. I almost said it. And I probably would have been cursed out immediately. My phone would probably be going crazy immediately.
Man, you can't keep your mouth shut to save your water.
Exactly. So I'm just saying the 26th.
Hey, we try here.
and it is a really large nightclub and not a lounge, a nightclub.
It's an actual club.
It's a club.
Okay.
And it is like downtown.
Okay. He's really.
I'm giving hints.
He's putting the breadcrumbs all the way to the front door, not the door, the dough.
Okay.
But it's still pending, and I was told not to say anything until
it's
official.
It's a go.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
Well, hopefully we get to know about it before everyone else.
Yeah,
and,
let me know.
If whoever you're working with, if you guys want to talk about it and try to get you on the show, we'll help you promote it too. We're all about the unity. That's it's one of the key factors that we promote here. We don't just talk about it, but we actually live it. We do believe in the unity aspect, and we do try to support, and we look for that back. So, again, whoever you guys are working with, who was that again? I'm sorry. When you do talk to them, hey, let them know that DaBooth312 is more than happy to support, and we'll be happy to work with you guys as far as getting the word out there. So just let them know. That's what it's all about in Chicago. That it's not the whole divide where we all try to step on each other. There are a select few here do try to come together and promote the unity. So
and we were just, me and my wife / manager, we're just talking about that, and we definitely appreciate the fact that you guys are really accommodating, really cool, and just just real unified in trying to make this thing work. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's not like that.
No,
we gotta, in order for this whole house music thing to work, we gotta come together. It almost sounds like Brothers Gonna Work It Out, right? Like the intro. But I mean, we really do have to work together. And if we don't, it dies in Chicago. And but the scary part is, it lives on everywhere else. And then the messed up part is like the birthplace of house becomes like nothing when it comes to house. And I don't ever want to see that happen.
Well, as long as we're alive and we're doing what we're doing, because each day you're creating your history, and your history can be shared with other people. Like today, being on the show becomes our history. And when it's our history, history is being shared with everybody else, and it's everybody's story. So if it's everybody's story and we're under one beat, then it's going to prosper. It has no choice but to move up. So, with that being said, you got Dave over here doing his thing. He's promoting. He does. I mean, this guy's all over the place. He played last night, and I'm like, dang, I didn't even know you was playing last night. I was downloading music last night, but I would have came out and supported. I didn't know. But you got Dave C doing things. You got Rob over here that is, taking the show to the next level. And if you haven't noticed by watching the show every week, the scenery, how everything's a lot brighter, because it's not, we're progressing upward. You got Derek Smokin' Jones pushing Music Alliance Festival and representing the house music scene as a whole as well. So you got myself, that I've traveled around the world too, played overseas, and I'm still trying to push, hey, this is a Chicago thing. Because to me, when I meet people that go, house music started in Chicago? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it did. So for everybody that's out there, we all love the music. We all, support, the people that are part of the scene. And, some people are just very strict on who they want to give their support to.
Yeah, that's true.
I ain't got nothing negative to say about that.
No.
I just say, hey, can you lend me your ear for a few minutes? Lend us your ear here at DaBooth312 every Sunday from 2 to 5. And you might find somebody else that plays just like the guy or girl that you have as a favorite DJ. But the music is still house music.
Yeah.
So you might come across somebody that you might be like, man, I like how they get down. I'm going to start following G-Spot. We give you a chance to tell people about yourself and talk about your websites where they can follow you, because we want to help you gain that popularity, because that's what we saw in you to bring you on the show.
I appreciate it. And I'm hoping the fact like that at some point I can share something with you guys as well, because like at the end of the day, we got to all look out for each other. We have to.
Okay. Well, that's what we try to do here, and that's what we'll continue to do. All right. Thanks again to all of you checking us out here and watching us live. And for all of you that are coming and checking us out later on, make sure you, if you're checking us out on all of our social media sites, please like, follow, share. That we really do appreciate that, and get the word out. If you're watching us live, please share the what are they called? I can't think of the word it is right now. The live feed and watch parties. We really appreciate that. And if you do see DJ G-Spot in any of your locations, and the first time you ever heard him or saw him was here on the show, don't be afraid. Step on up and let him know that you heard him first right here on DaBooth312. We appreciate that feedback as well. All right, guys, if you want to find out more about DaBooth312, check us out on DaBoothRadio.com, or you can check us out on all of our many, many, many social media sites. As DJ G-Spot said earlier, go to Google and search DaBooth, DaBooth 312, and you can find us right there. All right, guys, till next week. We love yous. Peace.
Have a safe week. Love y'all.
All my pieces you put into place in the brightest ways. Now I'm someone different. Got me past the pain. Now you're my escape. 'Cause you are the light in my darkness. You put the stars in my
again. All the things I tried, except the simple truth, to let my feelings show and open up to you. So long, I've been trying to fight the world. Damn wrong, everything I thought I knew. Hold on, tired of living with my fear. Let go, tired of holding back my tears.